Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And my God, we're doing another Cracker Barrel video.
Yeah, no, I'm doing this video because I keep getting these comments in our videos and people messaging me and stuff asking about this. Apparently people are under the impression that the ad agency behind, one of the ad agencies behind Cracker Barrel's, debacle, rebranding was the same ad agency that did the Dylan Mulvaney Bud Light.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. And I don't know why. One thing I could think of was there's a Fox article I saw a couple days ago. Because when we first heard about this, one of the first things I did was look up, who was involved in what agencies it was. And then I thought to myself, were they involved in that? And I actually checked it like days ago and They weren't. So that's why we never mentioned it, because I knew that they weren't. They had nothing to do with it. It was just, there's a lot of idiocy out in ad agencies right now. They aren't tied to the Jaguar debacle or anything like that either, because they're just a bunch of ad agencies making really stupid decisions. But people keep saying about, because they are behind Dylan Mulvaney and Bud Light. And it's like, no, they aren't. I want to make sure I clarify this because people are really, really confused by this for some reason, but they are not. The only thing I think of is this Fox article kind of says things in a misleading way.
Yeah. So they're kind of like, hey, this agency worked with Bud Light. It's like, here's the thing. And this is coming from a former advertising company, advertising firm employee that a lot of times advertising is compartmentalized. Sometimes a big company doesn't use the same firm for all campaigns. It might be they hire them just to do one campaign, or they hire them to manage social, and then they hire another firm to manage like television, radio. That's actually very, very common. Mm-hmm. So, the Bud Light Dylan Mulvaney campaign was, again, a different agency, and they had to fire a bunch of people because they lost a bunch of money.
And it was like a one-off, but it blew up to be this really big thing.
Yeah.
So let's talk about it. But before we get into it any further. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. You'll get a woohoo if you do. Woohoo.
Go out to Kickstarter. Geeky Sparkles Glow and Ghouls. You got 3 days yet to back her enamel pins. So check them out. She designed them herself, and they glow in the dark. Except for Geeky, I did that one. But
you did do that one.
Yeah,
but again, I've mentioned this several times. You can buy one pin or all the pins. It's up to you. So thank you for those who have. Back to the important stuff, which is this. Yeah, so there was this article from Fox, I don't know how many days ago. I saw it a couple days ago. And they mentioned the different agencies that were involved. I think Viral Nation was one. There was Profit, and then Blue, I can't remember, Blue something.
Yeah, they outed them. Yeah, they outed them. So anytime there's cancel culture, I wouldn't say cancel. Well, I guess it is kind of cancel culture. Consumer pushback. Anytime there's consumer pushback, we'll call it that, against somebody for making dumb decisions like this, they always dig up here's who was in charge then, and here's the marketing firm, and here's the whatever. And this happened, again with Bud Light and with everything else too. But they are pointing out that this Viral Nation did a Hispanic summer celebration. Then they also did a bunch of Pride merch.
Right. Well, I mean, honestly, these agencies will do that because a lot of times they're stationed in cities, usually super progressive cities. So that's why they of course, they're doing DEI pushes and all that shit. But what was on here was, it said Viral Nation's previously partnered with Bud Light. Now, they specify it's for the one summer celebration in LA, but there's a link, and if you click the link, it takes you to an article about Dylan Mulvaney. So I'm assuming, there's a link. I think people were assuming because they connected those on it sound like a bunch of word salad buzzwords on the Fox article, that's the case. But Viral Nation did not work on the Dylan Mulvaney campaign for Bud Light. It's easy to look up. You can look it up. They did not work on it. None of these agencies that were mentioned in the Cracker Barrel debacle are tied to the Dylan Mulvaney. That was what was the name of the company that did
it?
Captivate. And it was something that ends with an 8. Captivate. And they had a lot of layoffs and stuff ever, but Captivate was solely responsible for the Dylan Mulvaney idiocy. It had nothing to do with these other agencies. Now, these other agencies did enough damage on their own. I mean, they're all effing up right and left. And none of these agencies are tied to the Jaguar. That's a completely different agency because they're all just a bunch of usually progressive city agencies, pushing certain things and are out of touch with what middle America wants, and they keep screwing the pooch right and left. And that is the truth, but they are not connected to the Cracker Barrel situation.
No, it's interesting though, because you would think that a brand like Cracker Barrel would be like, you know what, let's pick somebody out of like Nashville or Georgia or something like that, where they can kind of relate to the target demographic, I think, of Cracker
Yeah, but
Barrel.
here's the problem with that. Where it's located, it would have normally been that way, but they brought this corporate element in, and they have been, shoving DEI initiatives and trainings and all that stuff down everybody's throats across the board, and it's all coming from a place that normally wouldn't be, super progressive, but the people they're bringing in to run the company and the agencies attached to it are.
So this is the guy who's the owner of the agency that did the Dylan Mulvaney, which the Dylan Mulvaney thing, we didn't really, I'm going to be honest, we didn't really cover that a whole lot because do I think it was ill-conceived? Yeah, probably, but I think it was a one-off. I think people at first misunderstood. They thought they were going to put Dylan Mulvaney on all the cans of Bud Light.
It was like one can, but it was stupid, and we all know how that turned out. Also, I think we did mention it in passing, but it wasn't something that we just made a lot of attention or sat on, because it wasn't something we normally focus on here. But it was funny to me though, because I'm assuming it's coming from that article at Fox that everybody's getting this from. But if you just search, a simple search will show you that that's not the case at all.
No, but it also is kind of, like you said, it's alarming that all of these agencies are all getting it wrong all within months of each other.
Yes. And I'm telling you why. It's because these agencies, you've worked at agencies, and granted, that was years ago before it went so insane. They are usually how do I want to put it? They're like some usually really expensive, window dressing, agency, and they tout themselves on, about how progressive they are and how, in touch they are, and how usually we have all the young trendy people in here, so we know how to appeal to the youth and everything else. And that's what they do. And they hire the exact kind of people you'd expect, and they're in metropolitan areas full of the exact kind of people you'd expect. And that's you can target that audience, but they keep picking, for something like Jaguar and stuff like that. Yeah, Jaguar, that audience I can see, because they, but they keep with Cracker Barrel or like Bud Light and things like that. Those are not the correct audience to be giving your, metropolitan far leftist sensibilities into. You need like a more middle ground. I can't speak today. A more middle ground approach. And a lot of these agencies don't have anybody there that aren't pickled.
Yeah, well, that's it, because they're hiring, from
and they pushed out the ones that were.
Yeah, liberal arts majors are getting jobs in agencies, and I think eventually what may happen, and this used to be a little more, it feels to me like this used to be a little more common. A lot of bigger companies had their own internal marketing departments. And their goal was to make sure that the brand identity was intact. And, they would work with outside agencies.
And now the new marketing push is to make sure those people's identities remain intact.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just a huge waste of $700 million. And here's the thing, once the damage is done, it's done. And this is Dave Ramsey, who said that, he doesn't buy just one stock anymore, because he said one stupid decision, you can wind up with a Bud Light, a Tesla, or a Cracker Barrel, and you could have your investment wiped out. And, these companies have suffered catastrophic loss. You'd think they would be looking at all of these situations and including, Jaguar and all these other brands, and be like, let's not do that, because Bud Light has not recovered. They still haven't recovered.
I mean, to be fair, you might like Bud Light, people, but it tastes like crap. I'm sorry.
Horse piss.
It's not good. I that's the other reason we didn't cover it, because we're like, Bud Light sucks anyway. But it's more of a moment of, why the hell would you do that kind of situation, and they keep doing it because that's the people they've hired. That's what their focus is. And like you said, it's not about the brand identity. It's about using, reinforcing their own identity and then putting it in the brand thinking it's going to mean other people are going to reinforce their identity.
Right.
And that's not your job. Your job is to, reach the largest, group you can with the greatest common denominator. And that should be what your approach should be. And it's not been that way.
I think it's funny that, it's not funny for people who lost their jobs, but they were like, they fired everybody a few days after the Bud Light disaster, and they had days after top brass boasted about a lavish junket to an awards ceremony on the French Riviera. They flew executives in on a private jet, and then 2 days later they had to lay everybody off because Bud Light tanked.
Yeah, well, it was really ill-conceived, and given that it's a controversial thing, and that's just that you can't. Sometimes leaning into controversy is a bad idea. It might work okay for media. It's not going to work okay for brand identity. And every time this comes out, or something like this happens, or some big push with trainings and all this stuff come out, people get mad. And because they're like, this is stupid. Everybody should be equal. This is dumb. And they get angry. And it's not a good idea to associate yourself with that as a brand. It just never is. And that's what happened. But again, I want to be clear. The people that were involved in the Dylan Mulvaney situation had absolutely nothing to do with the Cracker Barrel situation. They are unrelated, completely unrelated.
I'm looking at this, and they apparently have no concept of money either. I mean, they just
they never do. It's not their money usually.
Yeah, it's client money, and they're taking these lavish trips on client money. So, and a lot of them are gone now. So there you go. What's this saying? Get woke, something.
Yeah, I don't even like woke. Somebody else was mad about that, about saying woke. I'm like, I don't even like that word. You'd know that if you watched our channel. Anyway,
they don't watch the videos. This is a side tangent. Here's another side tangent for you. I found more and more that our biggest critics don't actually watch our videos because sometimes they, beyond saying that we said things we didn't actually say, they think that we're taking a contrary position. When if they had actually watched the video instead of just looked at the thumbnail, they would have realized that, this is what we're saying. But the YouTube game is you got to get people to click on that video.
Well, not just that. You put question mark or something.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about this, question mark. And then you said, it's like, no, we didn't. But I am telling you that it's a simple search. Don't believe me. I've always tell people, don't take my word for it. Go look it up for yourself. Just so you see what I'm telling you. I'm telling you is true. I'm thinking it came because it's very confusing in the Fox article, and I think they did that on purpose. Yeah. But those Viral Nation, and the other ones did not work on the Dylan Mulvaney Bud Light ad. They're completely different companies.
To be clear, they didn't explicitly say that in the Fox article, but they didn't clarify it.
No, but the link that you click on when it said they worked with Bud Light, it takes you to the Dylan Mulvaney thing. So I think I could understand very easily why people saw that article and they think that's what it meant.
Yeah,
but that's not the truth. So I normally don't bother, but I was getting so many messages about it and so many posts about it. And I was like, that's not true. Where are people getting this from? And that's and I know about this article because I saw it and then I searched. That came up. So I'm assuming it's this article is where people are getting confused. And that's not this article, the Fox one. But, just to clarify, so you don't have to keep messaging me about it. It's not. Did you know? My favorite is when people give us. I would have covered it if it was the case. I looked into it immediately.
Yeah, my favorite's when we get DMs and emails from people like, "Did you know this?" It's like, yeah, we actually broke that story.
I know.
So and so covered it. They don't
always get. They don't always get shown our videos either. So it might.
No, that's a whole other thing that's going on.
That's not their fault. I don't think this is their fault either. I think this is just a very misleading article. It is very
deliberately misleading. It's trying
very deliberately misleading.
Yeah. Why would you link to Dylan Mulvaney when the Dylan Mulvaney campaign was not?
Yeah, it's misleading, and that's a Fox's oopsie doopsie on that one. But yeah, just FYI, it's not true.
Well, there you go. Now you know. We need to get the more you know star going across the screen here, but I don't feel like putting it in. We're gonna wrap it up.
Yes.
Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants.
Wait. There already is a rainbow on the screen.
Oh. For more pop culture news, views, and rants, go to news.clownfishtv.com. That's news.clownfishtv.com.